Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. We got another deck profile for you. We have the first place winner from our Win-A-Mat locals at GameNation. What's your name and what did you play?
My name is Jimmy. I played Blackwing today.
Alright, cool. And we can see that you won this super nice lad mat.
Yeah, we did. So the prizing was the lad mat that you get from regionals and the YCS hamster mat for first and second place, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, we had 24 people today, so it's a 5-round locals, and it's a pretty standard Blackwing list. So we have 3 Sirocco, 3 Shura, 3 Bora, 3 Blizzard, 3 Kalut, Gale, 1 Vayu. The second Vayu did not happen to come up today, but I was testing around with it, and I see merits with those. I sometimes flip-flop back and forth, but I went with one today, and it worked out fine.
Before we leave, I see you're playing 3 Boras, so some of the Blackwing lists have been on the 2 Bora setup.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that?
I am a fan of 3 just because
the last game I played.
Yeah, Raiko is too annoying. Just being able to punch for Raiko for 16 and kind of get a good trade out of it. I understand playing 2. It is like one of the Blackwings that you could cut. I don't think I would do that. If it works for them, power to them. I'm glad it works for them. I prefer 3. I'm sticking with 3.
Makes sense.
And then Dad Gores. I did 1 Gores. I think I dropped it 1 time today. It's great when it goes off, but if not, it's it's still a power card, so I'd still prefer to see it. And then spells, very standard, just your 6 spells, nothing new, nothing special.
Makes sense.
Trap lineup, 3 Icarus, 3 draw traps, 2 Legacy and a Jar. Draw traps work pretty well. Main reason I'm on 3 is I feel like it's a good number. It's a good mix. It kind of mixes in with your other traps. You do want to open one. It sucks to draw trap in a draw trap, but I think it's gotten like a lot of good value, especially with like I'm pandering a bit towards our local scene, but there's like a lot of Lightstorm players and a lot of like value players. I think this is like pretty good into the matchup, at least game 1, because you can trade with like Raiko, Lila, and get something off and like trade off a bit of tempo. So in my opinion, it's pretty good. I was pretty happy with it. And then 2 bottomless, standard, 2 prison, not 3. Again, for the same reason, too many decks on like Raiko Lila, so prison felt really weak a lot of times. So I actually sided this out a lot of my matches today. I ended up playing 3 value players, and I sided like most of the time I was sided out 1 prison.
Makes sense.
Mirror Force, Torrential, Judgment, main deck Devi, and the Dusty.
Alright, so tons of stuff to talk about here. Hold on. So you are playing Torrential in the main deck.
Torrential. I think these are the controversial talks. Torrential and main deck Devi.
Yeah.
Torrential, I feel like...
and the Solemn. The Solemn's controversial too.
Solemn's controversial now too? Okay. Let's start with one. Okay, let's go Torrential first. Torrential, I feel like it's a card that people don't really expect on Blackwings. Not in a way that like you never expect it to be there, but like I think most of the time people don't expect you to play it when you have a board already, and it kind of insulates you from a lot of things. Sure, it can come up dead a lot if you already have your own board and like Whirlwind and whatnot, but the times it's come up for me where it just kind of lets me sit back and not have to commit, because in Blackwings you do kind of have to like drive pass a lot, whether you're just on like 1 back row or 2, depending on the matchup. So just sitting on like draw trap Torrential and like just kind of waiting it out until you get your power cards is a huge boon.
Yep.
There's literally a game where I just kind of sat there on like an opponent like swinging with Raiko and like maybe not really wanting to commit another card for fear or something like Torrential, just because he saw it before. And so because of that, I was just able to just basically pass for 4 turns, get the cards I needed, and just like kind of go for a game like pretty soon after that.
Makes sense. Is that a card that you use for specific matchups, or is it good across the board?
I feel like it's good across the board. I used to think about it and like I would keep it for specific matchups, and then the more I thought about it, it's like I would keep it for Blackwings. I would keep it for anything that brings in Consecrated Light. I would keep it for Frogs, and those are the decks that like I'm most worried about. And so the only thing that I would consider taking it out of was like maybe against Value Turbo. But even then, it's like if you can stop their like big plague play with Torrential, it's already gained all its value back and more. And there's been like a non-negligible number of times where I have Torrential and Stardust to dodge things like highest, and it's actually like saved me from like not immediately losing the game.
Makes sense.
So this thing has like paid off its value and more. Like it's probably like the most like MVP of the deck in terms of like traps, I say. Deck Debbie. I think this is becoming a little more standard now. I think a lot of Blackwing players are trending towards main deck 1 Deck Debbie. Having this and like the triple Icarus is like a lot of tribute cards, but I think like I feel like you kind of need this to play through a lot of back row. because bottomless trap hole is a turn skip, and Raikou is annoying to deal with, and like the hamster Raikou package in general. So being able to just like have the option to set deck Devi, set Sirocco, or things like that, just into like an open board or into like a T-set pass for turn is like huge. The knowledge that it gives you, also insane. It just lets you sense up for like game pushes afterwards. It did lose me the game once because I just tributed off like a Catastor and had no follow up for like 3 turns. Just died, but I think it's too good to not play. I feel like.
So 2 questions there. Would you consider playing more deck Debbie in the main deck?
Not with 3 Icarus, no. I think it's harder to get like deck dev to resolve in this versus Value Turbo, because like between like double Caius, like the Sorokos, your armed wings that come out for free, like Dark Arm Gores, whatever. Like Value Turbo has a way better time to resolve deck dev. Blackwing can do it, but it all revolves around Sirocco or Kalu or like a Blizzard into some kind of synchro, right? Otherwise, you're kind of if you're forcing like say like Shura Gale into deck dev, or like Armor Master deck dev, you're committing 3 cards, and like, sure, you could just win the game automatically, but like, if you don't, now you're suddenly down like maybe 1 or 2 cards. If you rip something, that's great, but like, it's a lot to commit for, right? So if I need it in like game 2, then I'll side in the second one, but game 1, I'm pretty happy with this one.
That makes sense.
And Judgment. I don't know, Judgment just puts in work. Half your life to say no to something is huge. Like, every time I saw this card, I just felt like it was... Not every time. Okay, we'll get into that later. But like most of the time I saw this card, I feel like it just insulated my board to the point where like I don't think I could lose the game. The only time where I think I lost because of this was I was playing against Amaryllis. I think it's on the channel, round 4. I had double Shura against a Lila that was ready to be flipped back to attack position next turn, and I need to get rid of it. And so he has like Scrap Iron Scarecrow, Magic Cylinder, and I need the attack to go through, or he just starts popping my back row with Lila again. So he Magic Cylinders me, and I saw him Judgment it, and it brings me down to like 3k life, and then that's the game I lose because of deck dev as well. Right? But like aside from that, I think this card is like too good to like not play.
Makes sense.
Okay, let's go into the extra deck. Oh, this is gonna be fun. We're gonna have a lot of fun. So, Stardust, 2 Armor Master. Even though I'm on 1 Armed Wing, but it has come up before. Sorry, 1 Value. It has come up. 2 Armed Wing, Goyo, Brio, Catastor, Black Rose, Darken, Colossal, Silver Wind, Thought Ruler, Chimera Tech, and the 15th card I played was Mistworm. It's not Magical Android because I do not want to shell out $25 for Magical Android, and there's been like a non-zero number of times that Mistworm has come up and has enabled some kind of game push or game-changing play. Not a lot, but it comes up to me more than Android, and so just for that reason, I don't mind not playing Android. The times that Android has come up is not enough for me to want to shell out the money for it, but that's a different topic for a different day.
So you don't play Android. Does the second 5 ever come up more than Mistworm comes up?
No.
Japanese Narset Pardo Veils.
15? Okay.
No, the second 5 has not come up. Usually by the time the second 5 comes up is because you have... one of the ways you make 5 is Shura Value into Catastor, for example. And at that point, Blizzard should have some 4 as a target engrave already. So at that point, 5 is kind of off the table. Because if you God forbid you make like Blizzard twice. If that comes up, then like it comes up. But like at that point, I don't think it's really hard to win the game at that point anyway. So, but having Mistworm as an option to go like Blizzard Kalu with a Bora in hand, or like just to be able to like bounce a bunch of things to make a game push for that is huge. And, like, or reset the back row. It didn't come up today though, admittedly, but to be fair, a lot of the extra deck doesn't come up very often, but it is.
Makes sense.
And the side deck. So full disclosure, our local is packed with a lot of Lightsworns players. There's been a huge uptick recently, and so I think today there were 6 or 7 Lightsworns players out of 24. A lot, more representation than other decks. So I did cater it a bit towards that, but we'll get into that. So 2 Dust Tornado, good for the mirror, good for heavy back row matchups. 2 Cyber Dragon, pretty standard. 2 Rugs. I side both Oppression. I'm happy that I sided Oppression. I played 3 Value Turbos today. I was not bringing it in this at all. The other 2 matchups were Plants, again, Marillis, and Chaos Fairy. Obviously comes in and against those, but I don't think it's worth the main deck slot, especially since I'm running Gores in the main deck. I don't want to have to worry about that conflict if I do bring in Oppression. So I'm totally happy with it aside. And then my control, Crow, second deck deck, Starlight Road, Fossil Dyna, and then my two main targeted hate cards for like Lightsworn is like Thunder King and Soul Release. So Soul Release is like the easy one to explain. Against Lightsworn, like this card, if they have any kind of setup and they don't drop like JD yet because they're waiting for a big push, you can just invalidate half their hand, right? Or most of their hand that way. And it does kind of insulate you from having to worry about some kind of crackback if you have to make a push. Because the scariest thing when you're playing against them is like if you go for some big push or Shura, Veil, or whatever, and then it all just disappears because they drop JD. But if you're able to make that kind of push and then Soul Release and stop them or slow them down for another couple turns, and get rid of a lot of their one-ups, and like it's almost like it's not impossible, but it's almost impossible for them to come back from that, at least from my experience. Thunder King, so I wanted the fourth target to out-consecrated light. So between the two sides was Fossil and Thunder King, I wanted the fourth guy to just be able to run over the ball. But also just being able to stop like JD and Christia immediately on summon without having to worry about priority effects is huge. It did not come up. It came up today when I played against the Chaos Fairies, but I did not bring it in against any other matchup after that. But it put in its work, so I can't complain about it at all.
So I see you've got a lot of one-ofs.
I do. 7 one-ofs.
Since you're talking about targeted hate,
yes.
Do you feel like there's room to add multiple more additional copies of any of the things you've got there, or take down some of the other 2-ofs you've got and add more toolboxy stuff for different matchups?
I did think about that. I do want to play a second Crow, but I don't want to have like Crow Soul Release. Because I don't think Crow on its own is that great against Lightsworn, unless you see them on things like Monster Reincarnation and like Avarice. And so because of that, like I would maybe cut one thing for like a second Crow. Maybe like Starlight. I don't think Starlight really came up. To be fair, I didn't play any Blackwings or like Lightsworn today, so Starlight didn't come up at all. But like this is like the first card I would probably cut out of everything, just because it feels like extremely win-more sometimes. And like I think against good players, they can read if you have Starlight, and against Lightsworn, if they have like Ryko, Lila, they pop your Starlight first before making their big play. It just amounts to nothing. So. Maybe that's for like more target like DD Crow or like some other target. But no, other than that, I was like pretty happy with all the one-offs. Because I think more than that, it would become some kind of conflict if I just had too many of them.
Makes sense.
Yeah, very happy with the deck. Performed very well today.
All right, cool. Thank you very much. Before we go off, any shout-outs?
No, just shout out to GameNation, located just north of Yonge Shepherd in Toronto, Ontario. If you're in the area, come by and check out the Edison scene. We've got a great community here. And shout out to everyone who comes and supports the scene.
Sweet. All right. Thanks, everybody. See you in the next one.